The moment your house loses power in the middle of a freezing night, you realize something terrifying. Heat isn't comfort, it's survival. And most homes are designed to lose it as fast as possible. You think walls protect you, but they don't. They leak warmth like a slow, invisible bleed. And when the temperature drops low enough, your body doesn't fail dramatically. It quietly shuts systems down one by one. So I did something most people wouldn't risk. I tested 3 different heating methods in a cold room. No central heating, no backup systems, just raw physics and time to find out which one actually keeps you alive the longest. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Heating a room isn't really about making it hot, it's about slowing down how fast heat escapes. That's the real enemy. You're not fighting cold air, you're fighting entropy. So the first test was the most basic, the one people underestimate, a single open flame setup. Sounds primitive, right? Just fire equals warmth. But fire doesn't heat a room efficiently. It heats air, and air moves. Hot air rises, spreads, escapes through cracks, windows, even microscopic gaps in walls. Within minutes, you feel warmth near the flame. But the rest of the room stays cold, like your heat is leaking out faster than you can produce it. And worse, incomplete combustion risks carbon monoxide buildup, which doesn't warn you, it just replaces oxygen in your blood until you feel sleepy and never wake up. So yeah, fire feels powerful, but in an enclosed survival scenario, it's chaotic, inefficient, and potentially lethal unless managed with ventilation. That's not comfort. That's a gamble. So I pushed further, because warmth isn't just about generating heat, it's about storing it. That's where the second method changes everything. Instead of chasing instant heat, this approach slows everything down. Thermal mass. Materials like brick, clay, stone, they don't just get warm, they absorb heat and release it slowly over time. This is the principle behind systems like a rocket mass heater, where the fire burns hot and fast, but the heat gets trapped inside a dense structure. And suddenly, something strange happens. The room doesn't spike in temperature, it stabilizes. The warmth feels heavier, consistent, almost like it's wrapping around you instead of disappearing above your head. That's because you're not heating air anymore. You're heating matter, and matter holds energy far longer than air ever could. This is straight thermodynamics. Higher heat capacity means slower heat loss. So even after the fire dies, the room stays warm for hours. Not minutes, hours. And that's the difference between surviving a night and waking up hypothermic. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. But here's where things get uncomfortable. Because even the best heat source fails if your body loses heat faster than the room gains it. Most people focus on heating the space, not themselves. That's a mistake. Your body is constantly radiating heat, especially through exposed areas and through conduction into cold surfaces. Sit on a cold floor long enough, and it will literally drain warmth out of you. So the third test wasn't about heating the room directly, it was about reducing heat loss from the human body while amplifying microenvironment warmth. Think smaller. Think controlled space, insulation layering, reflective barriers, and trapping your own body heat. A simple setup, blankets, insulation, even something as basic as a small enclosed tent or fort inside the room, can raise your immediate temperature dramatically without needing massive heat generation. Because now you're not heating 200 square feet, you're heating a few cubic feet around your body. And suddenly, your survival odds jump. Now here's the insight that changes everything. The longest lasting warmth didn't come from the strongest heat source, it came from the system that wasted the least energy. Fire gave fast heat but lost it quickly. Thermal mass gave steady heat but required setup and fuel. But controlled insulation, that extended warmth beyond what either could do alone. The real winner wasn't a single method, it was combining them. A small, efficient burn feeding into a heat-retaining mass, while your body stays inside a minimized insulated zone. That's how you stretch hours into an entire night. And there's a biological layer to this most people ignore. When your core temperature drops, your body restricts blood flow to extremities to preserve vital organs. Fingers go numb first, then coordination slips, thinking slows, decision-making collapses. That's how people die in cold environments. They stop making smart choices before they realize they're in danger. So maintaining warmth isn't just physical, it's cognitive survival. Warmth keeps you thinking clearly enough to stay alive. Listen, modern heating made us forget something important. Heat isn't about comfort, it's about control. Control over energy, over your environment, over your own biology. And when that control disappears, you don't need the most powerful heater, you need the smartest system. Because in a real blackout, in a real winter survival situation, the question isn't, how do I get warm? It's, how do I stay warm long enough to see morning? And after testing all three, watching the temperature rise and fall, feeling the difference in my own body, The answer became painfully clear. The method that keeps rooms warm the longest isn't the one that burns the hottest, it's the one that refuses to let heat escape in the first place. And once you understand that, everything you thought you knew about staying warm starts to fall apart in a very uncomfortable way. Because now you realize most people are doing the exact opposite of what actually works. They chase bigger flames, higher temperatures, more fuel, when the real move is to slow the loss down so much that even a small amount of heat becomes enough. So I pushed the test further. Because surviving one night is one thing, surviving multiple nights without power is where people break. And here's where another detail starts to matter more than any heater you could build. Air movement. Not temperature, movement. You can have a decently warm room, but if cold air keeps slipping in and warm air keeps leaking out, you're stuck in a losing cycle. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. So I sealed everything I could. Windows, door gaps, even tiny cracks you normally ignore. And something weird happens when you do that. The room doesn't just feel warmer, it feels quieter, heavier, almost still. That's because convection currents slow down, and when air stops circulating freely, heat stays where it is. This is basic fluid dynamics, the same principle used in cold weather military shelters where reducing airflow is often more important than increasing heat output.